here.
And I'm student meteorologist Sarah Converse.
We have an interesting show for you. We saw rain in the morning. You said you missed the rain?
I missed the rain. I slept it long enough that I just missed it.
I missed the rain slightly because I put on my raincoat this morning and covered my backpack, and right as I got out of my car, it stopped raining, so I didn't need that raincoat anymore.
I feel like that's how it always usually happens. You're like, okay, I'm prepared, and then it's like stops.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, well then.
We saw rain this morning. We saw a clear afternoon, and we're going to see beautiful conditions into tomorrow, thanks to this cold front.
Woo! I'm glad we're getting these cold fronts starting to push off through, getting those fall-like temperatures, seeing those 70s, no more 90s.
No, absolutely comfortable weekend. If you want to go outdoors, this is definitely the weekend to do it. You might not get many of these clear sky weekends, so take advantage of it while the semester is still in progress. Yeah,
definitely. So we'll have all of the events going on for this week, for today, and for the weekend ahead. Very pleasant conditions, as Dylan was saying, to be going out.
Absolutely great conditions. Would love to watch the football game if you want to go out. It's a noon game, but it's not a bad noon game because it's not 90 degrees and you're sweating. It's 70 degrees and you're pretty comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. I think around you have the forecast for it. I think it was like 65 for noon.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
We'll get into that full forecast later on in the show for sure. But right now, we're going to send it over to the wall with Michael for the overview.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan and Sarah. So it actually turned out to be a pretty nice day outside. Right now, it's mostly cloudy skies with the temperature of 76 degrees. We actually got up into the lower 80s today before that cold front started moving through our region. Now, because of that cold front and the low pressure system nearby our region, winds are pretty gusty, west winds at 16 miles per hour. Again, we do have some clouds. Again, if you're further north and west, you have a little bit more cloud cover than here in Tallahassee. That's all due to a low pressure system, which is situated right on the Georgia-South Carolina border near Savannah. And its associated cold front moved through the Big Bend region earlier today, and that's starting to filter in some drier air behind the front. Now, for your 3-day forecast, the weekend is looking absolutely perfect. Cool conditions on Saturday, only getting up to 71 degrees, starting out Sunday morning in the low 50s at 50 degrees. And then we start this gradual warming trend to around 80 degrees by the time we get into Monday. Sunny skies for Sunday and Monday. Again, we're going to have a sunny and mild weekend, a gradual warm-up to end the month of October, and Halloween is on Wednesday, so we'll have your Halloween forecast for you here at FSU Weather. So for now, let's send it back to the desk.
Thank you very much, Michael. Well, we're here to pick your metro region as we do every Friday.
Yes.
So, Sarah, you're going to pick today's metro region. We're doing Charleston, South Carolina today. What will we do next week, folks?
Birmingham.
Birmingham, Alabama.
Bringing it closer to home.
Yeah, definitely. Not a bad place. Shout out to Shane Pendleton, one of the people on the show, goes to Birmingham. But not a bad, keeping it local, but very comparative to what we've got here.
Yeah, definitely.
But right now I'm going to take it out to take a local look. Instead of Birmingham, we're going to take Tallahassee local. And looking at today, we're still above average on our temperatures, but we're going to start to see that change as we go into tomorrow, and we see that cold front really make its impact. 83 was our high today, and our low 67. We're going to start to see those seasonal averages come back into our forecast with this cold front moving through right now. Going into the current temperatures outside, cooling down just a bit, and it's just going to keep getting cooler and cooler as we get into tonight. 76 degrees, though a bit gusty with the winds out of the west at 16 miles per hour. And the current conditions, you can start to see where the cooler spots are. Blakely still with a bit of cloud cover and a little bit of shower or two, but start to see those 60-degree temperatures with that front and start to see warmer conditions go away. We're going to see these go away. We're not going to see these 80s for just a while, so start to see the more pleasant conditions as we go on. Our dew points, though, relatively unchanged from yesterday. We're not going to start to see the dipping in the dew points, which is showing how much moisture there is in the air. We're not going to see that till tonight into tomorrow. The cold front situated east of us, we'll see that in a bit, but the drier air and the calmer conditions, the beautiful conditions we're looking for this fall, farther out westward right now. Going into the wind speeds, you really see the winds coming out of the west, and these are some fast winds. You see some gusty conditions, 16-mile-per-hour winds in Tallahassee and in Quincy. Indicating with these out of the west and starting to make a northerly shift, that's because that low pressure system is sitting north of us, indicating this frontal system has moved its way through as well on the surface. And you see a lot of the shower activity confined to the eastern counties of our viewing area, and those shower chances are going to start to dwindle as we go into tonight as well. Zooming out with the big picture, you do have the low pressure system that's intensifying this rain and brought us that warm front the other day and this cold front to clear things out just a bit. And you have another low pressure system firing up some cooler conditions, or firing up some more showers, but the cool air mass right over here into Alabama is starting to make its way into our area behind this front. As we go into the next 24 hours, you see cloud cover stick around for just a bit, but we're not going to start to see the clearing as we get into tomorrow afternoon. And once it clears, it's going to be amazing conditions for the rest of the weekend. Absolutely gorgeous day out tomorrow evening and into Sunday as well. And then looking at tomorrow as well, nice 70 degrees, not 80s, not 86, nothing too miserable, 70 degrees throughout, and more sunshine farther you go south, a little bit more cloud cover with that other low pressure system farther north. But again, that's not bad conditions as we look at it. And then going into your football forecast, 65 at the start of the game, around halftime 69 degrees, and as you're leaving, 71. Absolutely perfect for a noon game, not too bad. And as we see the rest of the weekend, cool conditions, and we start to get back into the 80s on Monday. But we do have another front moving through on Monday, a dry front bringing lower temperatures to our lows as it starts to warm back up again. But again, not bad, and we're not going to see those rain chances up until Thursday. Now let's send it over to Sarah.
Thanks, Dylan. So zooming out into the southeast area, you can really see where this cold air is pushing its way down into into the Florida area. Some of the cooler temperatures behind it, 57 in Jackson. And then as we move our way down, unfortunately, some of South and Central Florida still seeing those warmer like temperatures in those 80s, but not too bad, not too shabby down there. And as we move on into your current dew points, you can really see where this cold front has affected the southeast, as we have that dry air, more pleasant like dew points out with those 40s and 50s, 48 in Jackson, 55 in New Orleans. And as we move our way down into South Florida, seeing a little bit more moisture as that cold front is situated off into central and northeastern Florida, and also because of these winds that are pushing a lot of that Gulf moisture off into central Florida around Tampa. Pretty breezy out too around in Florida. 16 right now in Tallahassee, and then off into our western portion, seeing a little bit more calmer like winds, but still being breezy at 13 in Shreveport. You can really see where that cold front was stationary over into Statesboro. There's that cold front, or that low pressure system right there. Bringing a lot of that moisture off into the Carolinas. That's where all that rain activity is. It pushes its way up into the northeast. And then that cold front in that futurecast, you can really see that cold front start to push its way down into central Florida and parts, a little sneak peek into that South Florida area. And also I want to sneak peek into the national. They see a lot of that rain activity is pushing up into the northeast, which we'll see a lot of alerts out there for flooding as well, which is a little sneak peek into our national later on in the show. And as we continue into Saturday, we're seeing a sneak peek into that drier areas where that high pressure system off into our west over in Texas, bringing in dry, clear conditions out into the south. So we're going to see some of that dry air start to push its way through, bringing down these dew points. Could potentially maybe see some chapstick season come into play for the weekend. Now for tonight, we're going to see that cold air really making itself known for the evening time, bringing in a lot of those cooler like temperatures, 50 in Shreveport, 51 in Montgomery, and then a lot of that rain activity still being a bit of gloomy night for Charlotte at 45 degrees. And then also for Florida, sitting cooler as that cool front starts to push its way through into north central Florida, but then south, seen in those warmer like nights. And then for Atlanta Gulf forecast, if you're going out golfing, it's going to seem fairly pleasant, a bit chilly out, 51, and then moving all into 59. And then it's for tomorrow, seeing an almost like rainbow-like effect of all these temperatures, warmer and those cooler-like temperatures in 60 Montgomery, and then down over in Tallahassee sitting at 72. But for now, I'm going to send it over to the lab with Dylan.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Well, if you've been watching this show for the entire month of October, we've been non-stop talking about these pumpkin patches and these pumpkin forecasts. I got my pumpkin here. Luckily, this one is plastic because we're going to talk about how pumpkins react to different types of weather. I want to start off with, when I was putting this presentation together, think to yourself, is a pumpkin a fruit or a vegetable? And at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. It's the perspective you look at it. I mean, the fruits and vegetables are just arbitrary categories. If you want to look at it as a fruit, it has seeds. But if you want to look at it as a vegetable, it's not sweet. So it depends how you look at it. And then going into pumpkins in the U.S., 80% of pumpkins are available to pick into October. And the #1 state for pumpkins, Illinois. Jake would be proud to have all these pumpkins on this show. and then looking at the different conditions you can get with your pumpkin. Well, you got some wet and soggy conditions, which we've been seeing a little bit of here in Tallahassee. That delays the chance for the pumpkins to really be planted and then be able to come up and rise. So you're not going to see those planting early, so you're not going to see a lot of pumpkins. And then they do have some problem with mildew attacking leaves and killing the pumpkins off in the end. And then going into hot and dry conditions, not favorable, again, for any farming, specifically for pumpkins as well. It produces too many male pumpkins, not enough female pumpkins, so they can't really populate. And you do have a smaller harvest and smaller pumpkins, so it's not very plentiful. Luckily, we didn't have a very dry season here, so looking very, very good for our pumpkins. And then the other type of pumpkin temperature, cold temperature. Luckily, we're not seeing that here in Tallahassee. It's not too cold for pumpkins. And if you do get an early freeze in the pumpkins in the spring, you're going to have a bad time because they're not going to be able to come up and be produced in time for the summer. And then you don't have bees flying around in 55-degree weather, not allowing these pumpkins to populate. And then taking it into us, we actually went to a pumpkin patch the other day, and look what's already happened to our pumpkin. So you folks at home, you're buying your pumpkin, you want to go out this weekend, it's not a bad time, because if you do carve it and put it outside, you're going to start to see it fall out. Ours honestly rotted, and we do have some mold in it. We're going to be throwing that bad boy away as we get into tonight. Not the best. If you want to put it outside, it's where you get all the flies and stuff. But inside and not carved, that's not a bad idea. Still keep the fall festivities and that pumpkin patch forecast and your Halloween temperatures as well. Right now, we're going to send it over back to the wall.
Thanks, Dylan. So that was really cool. Cool about those pumpkin patches as we're seeing those fall-like temperatures for most of the nationals, seeing those fall temperatures stick around, except for South Florida and parts over into the Phoenix and San Francisco area as we have that cold front push a lot of that cold air into the southeast. You can see where that temperature gradient of those greens and then the orange and reds down in the southeast. And then our current dew points, you can see where the dry air is stationary behind that cold front, that frontal system. We have all this dry air, 20 in Denver, and as we move off into southeast, still staying pleasant, but as we move into South Florida, that's where we're going to get those muggy-like conditions into 61 in Tallahassee and then Miami at 70. So a little bit on the fence of how muggy it is down there. Now wind speeds, you can really see where these two low pressures are stationary. You have one over into the Georgia area in Statesboro. You can really see that counterclockwise motion, and as we move off into northwestern, you can see a little one into Kentucky, a little bit of start of that counterclockwise motion of those two low pressure systems, which you can see in our map right on spot. There's those two pressures bringing a lot of rain out into the northeast and into the Mississippi or Ohio Valley, River Valley. And as this frontal system pushes its way up, we're going to see a lot of rain and warnings out there for the northeast. As we move into the southeast, kind of just a recap of that southeast. We're seeing that rain push more into the Carolinas, but overall it's sitting that frontal system pushing its way down into South Florida, bringing in those cooler-like temperatures. But here's a big picture of that the northeast as we have that frontal system push its way up, bringing in a lot of rain and bringing in some marine warnings out there as well. So if you're into boating, here's some of your marine warnings. We have storm warning in effect in that dark purple, and then in these lighter lavender-like purples, we have small craft advisory and also have a gale warning. So if you're out boating, make sure you keep these advisories into consideration. But the big picture we have of this storm, when this frontal system moves up, is the coastal flooding advisory and the warning, and also that flash flood watch, which we'll be seeing in that futurecast as we'll show that rain start to push its way up into the northeast. But for now, we're going to move out into the midwestern section. You can see a lot of that sneak peek, a little bit of that start of that counterclockwise motion of the other low pressure system, bringing a lot of rain, some rain and showers into the Indiana and Ohio area, and then also into Minnesota and Wisconsin, and off into the northwest, seeing some spotty showers out there as well, but nothing too concerned over there. So here's our futurecast. Going to show that frontal system push its way up, bringing a lot of moisture up into the northeast. We're going to push its way up into Friday, and then I want to show you this. If you kind of can look really closely onto your screen, you can kind of see some bits of pink coming in there. That's a mixture of some rain into snow. As we move off into Saturday, you can really see where that snow brings into effect into Maine, and if you can look really closely in that bluish color. Now for tonight's forecast, you can see that almost like fingertip-like, so that cold air started to push its way through into the Nashville of these blues. 49 in Salt Lake City, 43 in Kansas. And then for the Northeast, it's a bit gloomy night for them as they have some rain as they have that frontal system push its way up, and cool temperatures as well, 47 in Washington, D.C. And those green-like temperatures, 54 in Tallahassee, and then moving down south, staying a bit. The one warm spot, 75 in Miami. And then for tomorrow's forecast, sitting at that high pressure system bringing a lot of that warmer like air temperature, so they're sitting a little bit more warmer over there, 82 in Dallas, Fort Worth. You can see that where that cold front started to push its way through in the southeast into Florida, 72 in Tallahassee, very pleasant. And then for the Northeast, still staying a bit gloomy and a bit windy up there in Boston at 51 degrees. And also for a temperature outlook, we're sitting still warmer than average for most of the national, and then that colder air mass and into the Midwest. And then also for your precip outlook, we're still staying a bit wetter than average for November. But for now, I'm just going to send it over to Michael with our Charleston forecast.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. We're going to take it now back locally to one of our metro regions. This week, we are going to do Charleston, and you can actually really tell where that front actually is. We have that low pressure system, as Sarah was saying, just north of Savannah, around the Statesboro area. So you can see where that warmer air is filling in Charleston and Mount Pleasant at 75 degrees. But if you just go up I-26, 53 in Orangeburg, so much cooler out there, and 55 as well in Kingstree. That's also seen by our dew points, where it's a little bit warmer. You have higher dew points and you have moisture coming ahead of that low pressure system. But if you're north and behind of that low pressure system, much lower dew points with 51 in Orangeburg and 55 in Kingstree. Now, you can also see where that low pressure system is based on our winds. Everything is connected here. The winds, southerly winds ahead of that low pressure system, more of an easterly and northeasterly flow north and behind that low pressure system. And it's very breezy down towards Charleston and Mount Pleasant, 13 in Charleston and 10 in Mount Pleasant. Satellite and radar shows you we do have some rain ahead of this low pressure system. Not much as earlier in the morning where it was more widespread name. Now it's basically scattered showers just north of Charleston of the 526 corridor in Monarch's Corner, and a little bit of some shower activity up towards Kingstree. Again, zooming out, everything we've been talking about for Charleston has because of this low pressure system. You can tell by the winds, by the dew point, and also by the temperatures. If you're north of that warm front, much cooler. And if you're in between that warm front and cold front, a lot more warmer air and a lot more humid air. But once this cold front sweeps through, much drier and much cooler temperatures, more like fall, are expected for the low country there in South Carolina. That's what our next 24 hours shows. Once that cold front moves through, some lingering clouds are still possible, but those clouds will eventually break and lead to some sunshine going into your Saturday evening. Still some clouds Saturday morning, as I said. But then watch them start to break up as we go into the evening time period, leading to a very nice Sunday here in Charleston. Temperatures as well also go down towards the 60s and into the 50s behind that cold front. But let's jump towards tomorrow's forecast. You can see 70 degrees with mostly cloudy skies here in Charleston. Cooler as you go towards the inland regions with 67 in Orangeburg and 67 in Holly Hill. 69 down towards Hilton Head, a great golfing destination down there. Let's send it out to Dylan with a look at Florida.
Yeah, we're going to see how that low pressure system affects us here in Florida. Well, you're going to see starting the front back westward, you start to see the impacts of the front there into Pensacola, down into the central and southern parts of Florida. Hey, we're not seeing the front yet and probably not going to see the impacts of the front there. Dew points, you see these higher greens in the center. That's where the front is located, bringing a bit more shower activity into their area. But drier conditions way behind the front, starting to see that drier air mass move into their area in Pensacola and starting just a little bit into Tallahassee. But as we go on into the night, the dry air is going to start to make its way down southeastward. Going into the wind speeds, really see where the low is situated. This wind going from the north, then from the south over here, really showing where the front is located too. And you see these high winds throughout much of the state due to this low pressure system driving a lot of these winds and making it feel very gusty outside. Zooming into our radar, staying relatively clear, just a bit of showers towards the center part of the state where the front is situated. And zooming over into the panhandle, relatively clear, only a bit of showers farther you go eastward and into tonight for their area, starting to see the cool down. 49 degrees in Crestview, and cloudy throughout, but these clouds are going to clear as we get into tomorrow morning and into tomorrow afternoon as well. Starting to see a bit more shower activity over into Daytona Beach, but these are starting to fizzle out as the sun goes down. And into tonight, seeing cool conditions and kind of seeing where that boundary is, where you get these 70s and high 60s and those mid to low 50s as well, farther you go north. We're going to see cloud cover throughout much of that, and then down into South Florida, well, they're going to see the most of the rain of the 3 parts of Florida, seeing a bit of shower activity coming off the Gulf, and that's expected to bring some shower activity into Naples and parts of Miami and Homestead. As we go look into how your tonight's going to plan out, you're going to see shower activity fire up down towards South Florida and some bit of shower activity towards Central Florida, but South Florida is really the big impact into tonight. And then going into what your tomorrow forecast, seeing relatively clear conditions behind the front and where it's settling in Pensacola and Tallahassee. Down into South Florida, though, you're not seeing those temperatures drop. You're still seeing those mid to upper 80s as well. But right now, we're going to send it over to the desk with Sarah and Michael to talk about some Tallahassee events for you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan. With the weekend coming actually now, we're going to have a lot of events going on.
Yeah, definitely. Even for tonight, we have some events going on. We have the FSU Circus Halloween event going on tonight. So after you watch the show, maybe you can scoot on over at 7 p.m. They're going to do their show. It's really cool. I've been to the show, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about our FSU Circus. They're nationally acclaimed circus, so it's a really good program here at FSU. And also, temperatures are perfect going out tonight, in the mid-70s into the lower 70s later into the nighttime hours. But we also have events happening in College Town and in downtown Tallahassee as well.
Yeah, starting from 6 to 10 p.m. So you want to go there to the Friday night block party. And if you don't want to be outdoors, if you're a little bit, these 70s are like, oh, this is a little bit too chilly for me. You want to be indoors. We have the SLCs playing the Rocky Horror Night Picture Show at midnight. So if you want to see some spooky show, you can go see that at the SLC.
Yeah, and then going into tomorrow, the big event of the weekend is FSU versus Clemson. As we said, it's at noon. Temperature is not going to be as warm as Wake Forest. Not even close. 65 at noon.
So it will be very pleasant. You won't be sweating too much at the game, which I know that's one reason I don't like the afternoon games, because it's always hot.
Yeah, that's during the summertime. Thank goodness we actually went into the fall time now, and it actually feels like fall these last few weeks here in Tallahassee. Other sporting events this weekend, we have soccer and we have volleyball. Yeah,
the soccer is going to be for the SSC quarterfinal. They're playing in Durham, North Carolina. It's going to be around 60 degrees, mostly sunny, and it's going to be on Sunday at 1 p.m. So if you want to tune in and watch our FSU soccer play, definitely do that.
Yeah, and for reference, Durham is just west of Raleigh, so just west of the North Carolina's capital. And it'll be much better than what it is right now with that nor'easter moving up the coast and going up into New England. Again, we also have volleyball. That's also on Sunday. It's at 1 p.m. inside Tully. And temperatures are going to be pretty nice on this Sunday, mid-70s.
Yeah, definitely. So go and support our Noles. So just remember the Clemson game tomorrow. Soccer going to be on Sunday, as well as volleyball at 1 o'clock versus Virginia Tech. So that one's home. So definitely, you have no excuse to not go to the volleyball game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we have a lot of events going on this weekend, pre-Halloween events, and then we have Halloween on Wednesday, so a lot of exciting stuff happening here in the next few days.
Yeah, definitely, but I think I'm going to have the last local, so I'm going to head off over to the WAF with our last local. So here's a time-lapse of today. So we did see those those showers out in the morning, but I wasn't awake to see them. But as the rain moved off through, we had those puffy, cumulus-like clouds, the cotton ball cute clouds, move off through and had those nice, pleasant conditions as that wind also picked up. So ladies, if you're wearing skirts, you can really feel that breeze lifting your skirt up, so a bit not really skirt-like weather for today. But right now it's dropping down to 76, very pleasant out. It's still mostly cloudy, and there's that wind I was talking about, still pretty breezy out at 16 miles per hour. Now current conditions around the Big Bend are slowly declining as we see that cold front bringing in those cool-like temperatures in Blakely at 63, but then it's still sitting here in the 70s, 76 in Tallahassee and 75 in Perry. Now our current dew points are very pleasant. We're not in the 70s anymore, so these are a bit more pleasant conditions in the 60s, 65 in Monticello, 61 in Thomasville, and 54 in Blakely. Now, current satellite and radar showing clear conditions out for the Big Bend. Maybe a few spotty showers off into our eastern portions, but nothing too serious. So clear like temperatures that we have that cloud cover starting to push off through for the night. Zooming off into our the national picture, you're going to see where that activity is mostly bringing out into the Carolinas. But we see this cold front start to push its way through, bringing in those fall-like temperatures again for the weekend. So definitely go out and take advantage of those cool-like temperatures. The futurecast, though, seeing that cloud cover stick around, maybe a few potty showers, but not very likely. And that cloud cover sticks around into Saturday morning, and then start little areas of pockets of some clearing out. And then for your football game around noon, going to see clear light conditions and nice conditions as we move off into the evening time, clear for tonight. So definitely go out and celebrate, hopefully, if we win against Clemson. Temperatures forecast going to clear out for Saturday morning. Going to start off very chilly out, so may need a light jacket at 57 degrees in Tallahassee, but quickly, slowly warm back up into those 70s. So very pleasant out if you like those temperatures. 68 right now for Tallahassee as you move off into the evening for Saturday. But for tonight, we're going to drop into the 50s. So it's going to be a bit chilly out if you're not used to these temperatures, especially if we've been sitting in those 70s and 60s. So you may need a light jacket as you're going out, especially to College Town to the Friday night block party, or just going out for a nice dinner with your friends. So 54 for that low, partly cloudy, still a bit breezy at 9 miles per hour with that wind. But for tomorrow, 71 degrees. I like that. That's some fall-like temperatures right there. 71 degrees, very pleasant for tomorrow, mostly sunny, and we do see that wind, that breezy wind of 12 miles per hour. So ladies, make sure you keep your hair up. And then for the pumpkin patch, going to start very chilly, so make sure you bundle up your little ones for that morning at 10 a.m., but quickly warm up slightly to 71 degrees. And then for your 7-day forecast, going to see those fall-like temperatures stick around, a slight warm-up on Monday at 80 degrees. And then for Halloween, still a bit warm too at 80, and then we have another frontal system move off through for Thursday and Friday at 50%, bringing in some more cooler temperatures, sticking our lows into the 50s. So I'm going to send things over back to the desk to kind of review everything that we talked about in the show.
You said you were going to bring it in.
Oh, I thought you were bringing in Dylan,
but
okay.
I'll talk about it. We'll talk about this cold front, the cooler temperatures.
Yeah, the cooler temperatures.
We're going to see a pleasant day tomorrow. Pumpkin patches, we've talked about those on the show.
Yep.
A tip that John Alquist has called in and told us, you can actually draw on a pumpkin is another good tip instead of carving the pumpkin to preserve its life.
Yeah, drawing on a pumpkin. Or you could, they have those stickers. You could just put those stickers. I should have honestly just put those stickers on my pumpkin.
Yeah, but if you want to go out to the pumpkin patch, nice 70s again for your temperatures. Feeling better than it was earlier this week.
Yeah, and look at that. A gradual warming trend as we end October, but temperatures are perfect. The mornings are nice and cool and refreshing.
I mean, this is the part of the year where you don't know how to dress, where you wake up in the 50s and you go, I'm going to wear jeans, and then gets to the afternoon, look, 79 is a high. How do I dress for that?
And then 80 degrees for your Halloween on Wednesday.
Just skirting out of the rain that's coming in on Thursday.
Yeah, that's that cold front that is going to move into a lot of the east going into the later part of next week. But enjoy the next 5 days. Look at that. It's honestly perfect October and to begin your November weather.
Yeah, November starts on Thursday, and we're starting off with rain.
Yeah, and then we put the close on Halloween and pumpkin season, and then we go into Thanksgiving and turkey season. I hate how people just like skip Thanksgiving and then go into the holiday shopping.
I mean, Thanksgiving is a very good holiday.
Yeah.
Give thanks for what we do here in the community, and a lot of good things, and it's a very warm and welcoming, and we're seeing better conditions later into November and sticking with that cooling trend.
I still can't believe about that fun fact yesterday. Never 90 degrees in Tallahassee in the month of November.
Never. Luckily, that's not happening this year.
Yep.
You're going to follow us on Twitter, though, to keep updated with us.
Yeah, like us on Facebook as well. There's the URL, as we say, basically every show.
Yeah, you can also watch us live on YouTube or watch all our old broadcasts if you want to know the weather from yesterday and the day before.
And then we also have the Instagram at FSU Weather. If you are at a pumpkin patch, you can take a picture of you at a pumpkin patch and send it to us.
Yeah, we took a picture at a pumpkin patch. We had a good time.
Yeah.
But good conditions to go out. Great weekend. Enjoy it. If you want to go study outside, it's a perfect weekend as well.
And also perfect weather for the Clemson game. So for all of us here at FSU Weather, I'm student meteorologist Michael Onen.
And I'm student meteorologist Dylan Leith. Have a great night.